Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 91.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hi friends, welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about your thoughts. Well, we talk about your thoughts all the time, actually, probably in every episode in one way or another, but I want to be specific today on the concept that you choose your thoughts, that you have the right and the ability and in fact the duty to choose your thoughts. I want you to walk away from today's short podcast with an image in your mind about what a thought really is, so that you can begin to manage your thoughts. Now, we have talked so much, if you listen to these messages or read my book or follow anything that I do, we talk all the time about the importance of thoughts. In fact, that is the basis for all the results in our life is what we think about, the thoughts that we have, and therefore the emotions we feel, the feelings we have, the words we say, the choices we make, all of that. And of course, the thoughts come from deeply held beliefs. And when they are limiting beliefs, that's challenging because then we have toxic thoughts. So thoughts are really everything. Thoughts are very important. And what is the one thing we have control over? The one thing that God gave us control over in this world, nothing else. The one thing is our thought life, our mind, our brain, our choice of how to direct our mind, which is essentially just our thoughts. You know that saying, I've said it before, that life is 90% how you react to the 10% that happens to you. It's about your reactions, your thoughts. It's about your mind. It's the one thing you can control. So shouldn't we know more about our thoughts? Shouldn't we be more in charge of our thoughts? But we're not. We're not. You know, I've made the analogy before and I often say it. I want you to think about your mind as though it were a retail store on Main Street. And in that store, you have your merchandise and the things that you love and you're selling, and you protect it. You wouldn't let just anyone come into that store and rip through your merchandise or graffiti your walls or yell at your customers or throw things around. You wouldn't do that. But in our mind, we have less security. We put up less of a guard than we would in a physical situation. We just allow thoughts to hang around. Bad thoughts, nasty thoughts, dark thoughts, whatever. They're allowed to hang around, and many of us don't put up a guard, and we're not careful about what we think. And you know, not every thought comes from inside of us. Some thoughts come externally, come from our enemy, come from negative situations, but wherever they come from, we are supposed to guard our thoughts. We are supposed to be in charge of what we think and what we entertain and how long. But we tend not to do that. But if you begin to think about your thought life as a retail store or something that you hold dear, you will then reconsider whether or not you allow thoughts to hang around. We talked, I think it was last week, about what we think is true, what is true, and what we hold on to, and the prejudices that we have and things that we see as truth and how to change that. And often we don't challenge these thoughts. Just because they're there doesn't mean they're true. Just because we continue to allow them to stay around doesn't make them true. In fact, if you allow a thought to hang around for too long, it will become truth to you. So shouldn't we be challenging it when it first arrives? Shouldn't we be evaluating our thoughts when they first arrive? Shouldn't we be doing that work? But we tend not to do that. So I want you to have that visualization, that image of your thought life as like a store where you keep the riffraff out. Also, another thing that helps is to think about your thought life like a trampoline, like a series of trampolines in your mind. Just imagine, as far as the eye can see, all these trampolines, and every trampoline that's there is a thought. You get to choose which trampolines you want to jump on. You get to choose how long you're going to bounce up and down on those trampolines. If you visualize your thought that way, then you start to see, I'm making a choice to bounce up and down on this thought trampoline, and I'm making a choice to stay there. I might bounce on it once and then realize, ooh, I don't want to entertain that thought anymore. I have the choice to get off that trampoline. I don't have to dwell on it. I don't have to stay there. I don't have to bounce up and down on that thought trampoline. I actually have the choice to get off. I make that choice. I don't have to fixate or dwell on something that I don't want to. But we don't do that. We tend to not do that. If you can practice that, where you begin to control your thought life and you decide how often you will entertain something negative, how often you will jump up and down on that trampoline, on that thought, you will be amazed how you are able to start to change things in your life. Your anxiety will diminish. Your positivity will increase. Things will change for you. Your fears will start to go away. You won't project as much negativity into your future. So much will change. You will live more in the present. So there's another analogy or metaphor for you, that your thoughts are like trampolines. Your mind is full of them. Which trampoline are you going to bounce up and down, up and down, up and down on? Is it going to be the negative one? Are you just going to keep bouncing, keep bouncing, keep bouncing? Are you going to get off that trampoline and get onto a trampoline that has a positive, uplifting, life-affirming thought? It is a choice. Here's a third way to look at things. I want you to consider your thoughts as a big, huge road, like an interstate road. That's what's in your brain, or just all these roads, and the main part is this huge highway, right? It's wide and well paved. But then there are the roads that go off of these that are less tended, roads that go, to different parts in your mind that are less tended, smaller roads, not well paved, not well maintained. But you have that main well-paved wide road. This is kind of what our thought life is like. Our subconscious beliefs and our habits, the things that we do every day, the things that we don't even consider or think about. This is an extremely wide 8-lane superhighway. And we go down that thing without a moment's notice. And it's so well paved that we don't think about it. And in fact, we often will be driving and forget that we're even driving. Did we remember the last 60 seconds? Do you ever do that? But you don't really engage your brain as much because you're on this highway. You've been there before and it's automatic. And those are the things that just happen with you out even thinking about it. But when you start to change things and challenge things and get a new thought, it's like turning your car onto a gravel road all of a sudden. From this smooth, wide lane highway, all of a sudden now you're going to try to change that. You're going to take an exit ramp. You're going to get off. You're going to decide not to think that way. And you're on a gravel road. It's not well paved. You haven't been there before. It's bumpy. It doesn't come easily. It's hard work. You know this is something new. Part of you wants to go back to the big, huge, well-paved highway. But you know that by getting off of that, off that negativity, off those negative thoughts, off of those thoughts that are holding you back, and then paving something new by choosing to get off the highway, even though it's a gravel road, even though it's difficult, even though it's small, even though it's winding and you're not sure where it's going to go, you know it's the right thing to do. This is really about creating neural pathways in your brain. And this is fascinating because it's true that our brain is like one big highway. The more we think a certain way, the more we engage in a certain habit, the more we commit to something in our mind, the easier it becomes just to go down that highway. Well, the good news is if it's a positive, good thing, great. But if it's a negative, destructive thing, that's not good because it becomes more and more ingrained and easier for our brain to go down that neural pathway. We have to make new neural pathways. We have to decide, I'm not going down this one anymore. I'm taking an exit. Well, it may not be paved. It may be difficult. It may be rocky. It's unknown. You're not sure. You can only see a little bit in front of you, but it's worth it because that path is the path less taken, right? That path is the path that leads you to freedom from these negative, toxic thoughts. That path allows you to get off this highway that you've been on for so long that you stopped even questioning. That is your exit strategy. So again, think about it. These automatic, negative, demanding thoughts that are toxic in your life, that are unconscious most of the time, are that big superhighway. But to get off of that requires some commitment. And it requires you to purposely stop jumping on the trampoline, right? To purposely decide to kick out the negative thoughts out of your retail store, out of your mind, and to create a new exit, a new neural pathway. And guess what? The more that you take that exit from the negative thoughts, the more that you create that new neural pathway, the more you drive down it, the easier it becomes, the less it is bumpy, the more smooth it becomes. It becomes more welcome and more known and more obvious to you. So you can do it. You can create your own exit. You can create new neural pathways. The brain is incredibly powerful. Neuroplasticity says you don't have to stay where you are. The brain can learn new things, but be aware that your thoughts, repeated, create neural pathways that if they are negative, you will be stuck on them unless you choose to create a new neural pathway and get off that trampoline. So I hope these metaphors and images and analogies help you, because sometimes when we can see this, we can understand how we get stuck in our negative thoughts. And do not think for a moment that you can't overcome them. And do not think for a moment that thoughts are not powerful. They are. They create the world. They truly do, because they create the words that we say and the actions we take. Our thoughts are really everything. It starts there. They come from our deeply held beliefs, these thoughts that we have. We have to challenge them. Don't just stay on the easy path. Just don't stay on that highway. Know that if there's something you've dealt with your whole life that's a negative, a repeating thought, you can change it. It's your decision. Who else is going to do it for you? It's the one thing you have control over, the one thing, your mind and how you direct it. No one else can do this work for you. No one else can get you off that trampoline. No one else can make you exit that highway. You've got to do it. You've got to be willing to protect your thoughts, to therefore protect the results that happen in your life. You want to live your best life? Have the best thoughts you can have. Be a gatekeeper, and it's daily work. It's not one and done. It's daily work that you stay on top of your thoughts, that you choose consciously what you're going to think and how long you're going to think it, to the point where when you put positive thoughts in place and you create those new neural pathways, guess what? It becomes automatic. It becomes automatic, and you no longer have to force yourself to think that way. Now you're thinking more positively, and you can conquer then the next thought. It works. Trust me, it works. Try it. Try it and let me know. But where you are now, if you're struggling with negative thoughts, that's not working for you. So be willing to try. And know your brain is so powerful, and it will follow your lead, that you are in control of it. And in fact, that is your responsibility, to take control of those thoughts and ultimately of your life, to live the kind of life that you want to. It begins in the mind. Have a great week, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.